Hello, viewers. Nah, I'm just kidding. Greetings, viewers, and thanks for joining me out in the shop today. Not only did I just watch that episode of Seinfeld, but it is time to announce what I'm going to do with the Tacoma. I hope everybody here is as excited about it as I am. This is going to be the Tacoma's donor vehicle, for those of you who hadn't already figured it out. 3/4 swap in the Tacoma, not a huge deal, been done a million times. I've never done it. I don't know how to do it. While I must confess some of it will be the trial and error kind of thing that I like to do, or reading the first sentence of an article and thinking I know the rest of it and going from there. But I will be doing some research when it comes to the wiring. I've already read a couple of articles on it. I'm going to have to read a couple more. I'm going to have to do some consulting with some other engine swap people, I'm sure. But this is going to be a multi-part unit over time. So this is part one, I guess. I don't know if I'll number them in parts, but they'll be labeled accordingly, of course. Just briefly, this is about on the road. My friend who bought it and I and his family have come over and worked on it, and we've got it all back in, hooked up, running, EGR delete, headers, a couple of the other things that I had in mind for it. Wasn't able to get video of it at the time of the work going on. It just didn't work out. When we get it fine-tuned and running properly, got a couple vacuum issues yet to work out with that EGR delete, and it needs a muffler, that's for sure. But once I get that up and running, maybe I can get a video of it at least in action. I have moved it forward and back in the garage, so that rocks. Always nice to see them come back to life. It'll be just as exciting to see this come back to life, that's for sure. Hang on just a minute while I wet my whistle and I'll go over some details. But before I start going over details, let me say, because I always have something else to say, I could not take that slappy rear tire on the Tundra. The one that I got moved to the driver's rear, it doesn't really bother me at all. It hardly makes a noise. This one that had that horrible baldy flat spot on it, it was slapping and making the truck shake so bad it got worse the more I drove it. Had to buy one brand new tire. Fortunately, at over 18,000, I thought I had more closer to 20. But at about 18,000 miles on these tires, they had only lost 3/32 of an inch of tread. So on a tire that's 33 inches around, I have one that's 1/8 of an inch taller now than the others. I think I'll sleep all right knowing that. Took the 3rd gen out, drove it around a bunch after fixing it. That's just water leaking from where I washed it. But everything is good. If you saw the little short that I did, I zip tied my headlight up. I stitched Yoda back up. I got my grill tightened back up where it's not moving. So basically that's what I meant by body work. That headlight was so busted I couldn't fix it. And I didn't want to replace it with one of the old style. So to keep it from jiggling, I know it isn't pointed in the right direction necessarily. I stitched it up there, tied the grill up to the headlight for strength at the top and really strengthened it up. Attached that filler panel at the bottom. There's really nothing back here anymore, so that, while it feels pretty strong because I have it stressed in several different directions, for strength, like trust it, so to speak. But anyway, that is good enough for me and the trucks that I drive. I did wash my engine today too, finally, and got all that mud off there. That might help it run cooler as well. So I said this was going to be about the Tacoma. Slim come through to help get me back on track now. You can always count on him to keep his mind right. Now, I'm going to show some of what I take out of here, because from what I've read so far, not only do I need the usual harness, engine harness, but as the wires come in, and you've seen me take a dash apart before, which I'm going to take this nice Moon Mist dash apart and try to sell it, but that's not why we're here. I'm going to try to show you what all wires I understand are needed. There are several parts on this truck that I'm going to keep, some for my 3rd gen spares, but mostly for this Tacoma swap. So as I get in here, I understand you don't need anything behind the front seats. That's why this thing's full of junk, ready to go scrapyard, but I digress. Slim's going to start getting that console out of there. I need the shifter too, buddy, while you're in there. Anyway, I'll just assemble this dash and show you the wires that I'm taking out and how to get them out. I've read that this internal harness is necessary because the 1st gen, this is a early 95 truck, if I remember correctly, what they call the 95-5. Yeah, this was built 7 of 95. So I think that's what they term the 95.5. So it's a first gen truck. I'm going to use this engine, this transmission, and that's it. I think I might need something to do with the drive shafts. I understand I might need to make a drive shaft. That's parts I'll get to as the project progresses. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself like I always do. But again, like I say, when it gets to the internal wiring, I'm going to take way more than I might need because this truck will have to leave. I still have to rebuild my trailer. I have a lot of things to do before my next big wheeling trip in Arkansas coming up later this month. So that's something super cool we can look forward to. As I get going on this, I don't know how much of removing this I'll show, but you know what, since it's going to be multiple parts, I may just show it all. High points, I'm not going to sit there and do a this is me wrenching for 6 hours thing, and I'm sure I don't have enough people to watch me do a live feed. But anyway, about the Tacoma and why the delays. One, I have some cool stickers coming out I wanted to release to celebrate my 1,000 subscribers show. I'm already surpassed 1,000, and I thank you all very much. It is free, painless, and super easy to subscribe. If you like my videos, I would appreciate you liking. If you want to see more, subscribe. I will have crap for sale. That's just always, of course, optional. But I think my stickers are going to be cool. That's one of the things I was waiting on. I wanted to have cool stickers and shirts. They're coming. That's taken longer than I thought because I'm picky. But anyway, Slim isn't going to even get a shirt. He don't know. But about the Tacoma, back to that. Briefly on this Tacoma, it was purchased from the person I bought it from. I saw all the paperwork. They gave $7,500 for this truck. Within they bought it in April, and by November, they had put new struts, new CV shafts, both sides, new brakes all around, new upper and lower ball joints, new rear shocks, and had the frame repaired by some guy who can lay down a bead like nobody's business. I got under there and looked over the frame where the repairs were made, and man, super impressed. Super again. That's another thing you'll see as this truck goes. Now, there was a title issue with it for a while, and I wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to put it on the road, but thanks to the cooperation of the previous owner, I got all the paperwork done and titled in my name now, finally. The issue that came about as the had all this work done on the truck, also had it tuned up, air conditioner service done. I think that's everything. All the front end work, shocks in the rear, tune up, AC work. It's in great condition. The body's in great shape. There's no rot underneath. The bed's in great shape underneath, even just with those two rust spots. Now, I have not removed the bed liner, but I have crawled under it and looked, and I didn't see any rot or rust through under there. So super excited that it's in such nice shape. Now, I originally was going to just turn around and sell it for a profit, because I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for it, but just say, when I very first introduced it, I said I got it for a song. Well, rest assured, I can't fucking sing. That's how good a deal I got on this truck. So I had two buddies that I told them I'd sell it. And then I backed out on both of them. Thankfully, they understood. I said, instead of just turning it for a real quick little profit, I'm going to fix it. Now, whether it leaves after it's done or not is yet to be determined, but based on what I'll have in it, I can not really see it leaving the fleet. That's all going to be a while. The only damage I've seen on the truck, the whole truck, is this little plastic piece under here. The body's straight as can be. I may drag it out and wash it. It does run. There is a hole in the engine. I'm bouncing all around here. See, they bought the truck for $7,500 in April. By November, had spent, I think, $2,200 or $2,700 at the same Toyota dealer they bought the truck from, and had all that work done. And then they blew the motor up. And by blew the motor up, there is a friggin' hole in the block that you can't see from here because I don't have the light on it. You'll see it as the project progresses. Not sure how all that happened, but needless to say, that was part of the strife that in their family that caused me to get this vehicle dirt cheap, and super happy to have it. Enough about that. Probably say super 100 more times. I've already put some 31s in those 4-spoke rallies on it, just because it had some really tiny tires on it. If you saw the very first video on it, I had to make it look better just sitting in the garage. Moving to the inside, this is a 150,000 mile truck. This is the only bad part in the interior, is that little handle and that little rip right there. The Tacoma, 150,838. Now, why I got this all apart while I was anticipating what might happen, I started doing some research and reading and looking and seeing that this cluster out of the 4Runner over there, even though it's got a little bit of different mounting, can be used in the same place in the dash in the Tacoma. Now, the Tacoma has speedometer cable. The 4Runner is electric. This is a 95, that's a 97. I guess for doing the 4Runners, the 96 and 97 are the best candidates. That's based off of the two articles I've read so far. Slim's going to get in there and check some of the plugs over on that side. You guys know I really don't have him working right. I don't want no animal rights activists saying I got a cat working over here. Although he is paid well in victuals, comfy sleeping places, and a nice roof over his head. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I started pulling the dash out because one article I read said I can still plug this in and add the wires I need to this wiring harness, at the plugs that'll be over there that we'll see later and make my electric speedometer work. This is news to my buddy who does news to my buddy who did his wire harness for his first gen swap. I'm going to have him help me, but he'll probably know that before he sees this. But everything as I understand it, the exhaust is already on the correct side. This dump's on the correct side. The airbox is on the correct side. I think you have to have this part. Again, one article I read said you had to have every bit of wiring short of light wiring for the front, light and horn and crap. Clear into here, including the fuse box. The other one says you don't. I'm taking it all, rambling on about that. I'm super, damn it, excited about having the Tacoma. I have never had a Tacoma. I think I can handle it. I don't know if I'm Tacoma guy material. I love my 4Runner. I love Toyotas. I love my mini trucks. Slim really likes this Tacoma. I've always liked the first gen ones the best. I think I can make this work in my fleet. The red might come back if I try to buff it. That is things that'll go down the line. But I tell you, when you have a project like this and you don't have any money to put into it and it's at a lull, find cheap or free things you can do, like maybe buff your paint, try some different wheels. If you got some around, I salvage vehicles for a living, so a lot of this stuff I get at no charge, or anyway, it works out for me. I don't have any cool wheels on this T100 anymore. It had some cool ones, but I sold them. Really does bug me that this is so dirty, but yeah, I don't think I'll be taking it out. I was really glad, almost said super, to get the title all worked out on it. That was nice. I was concerned at first, but again, thanks to the person I got it from for working with me on that. So, to recap, if necessary, I'm going to keep the Tacoma. I'm going to 3/4 swap the Tacoma in bits. I'm going to do some other stuff to it. So now not only will I have 3rd gen 4Runner content, 1st gen Tundra content, I'm going to have me some 1st gen Tacoma content as well. I'm excited for that. This truck has a lot to offer. It ran and drove. I drove it in here. It's another Rust Belt cancer-ridden vehicle that is giving its all to me. Yeah, because of rust. So all of this is a 140,000 mile motor. I don't know if I showed that when I showed the cluster. So this truck only has 10,000 more miles on it. It's 2 years older. Apparently doesn't have any mice in it because Slim's not having any fun digging around in the back. I just recently cleaned this out once I found out I was going to get the title for it. Had a lot of trash in the back seat. The previous owner had rhinestone encrusted trim around the mirror, like stick-on rhinestones. It had a rhinestone steering wheel cover. Some other things that were in it that were crazy. So looked to me like a person who loved shiny sparklies had it. But I cleaned, meow, Slim. No, I didn't save any of that stuff, buddy. But every nook and cranny back in the back was filled with trash. All the compartments were filled with trash. I'll show you the weird cup holder that's in the back seat on this when I get there. This shifter here is janked up and loose somehow. I've never seen one of those be loose, but I've heard people talk about having to rebuild them. I'm going to take the shifter from the 3rd gen because I'm going to use that transmission anyway. I'm not changing the dash over. I hear a lot of people just change the dash and everything. I'm not interested in doing that. I like this style. I want to keep it this way. Just going to do wiring and cluster. Truck is in great condition. It'd be nice to have it here. As I go and take things apart, I'll hit the high points. Right now, I'm just doing the easy stuff. I'm draining the radiator, taking the air box. I'm going to keep the cruise module for this. Of course, I'll get the wires. I'll show you that stuff. But right now, just some unhooking going on, the basics of everything. I'm going to keep my evap canister, all this. But anyway, going on too long. This is 20 minutes already. Thanks for tuning in and joining me. I am going to try and pimp my new stickers and shirts at you when they get here, just because I want to, and it's my show. I appreciate you, though, checking it out. Please do, like I said, like if you like them. Subscribe if you want to watch more stuff that goes on in my shop and out at the off-road trails. Like I said, going to Arkansas to do some wheeling later this month. Tacoma has officially gotten underway. I got a handful of stuff coming up, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I just really do. So anyway, have a super great day. And yeah, that's it, I guess.